guys all have to hit that button because it's going to ask you to do that. And if everyone could do me a huge favor and go on mute for me, I would appreciate that. There will be times when you guys can come off mute. So just a little explanation. So we were going to do the Tandy and Kelly session today, all about like kind of being like the master of your calendar. I can't remember exactly what Tandy was calling it. Sorry. But next week, some of us are going to get to go to the DC. So we're going to for you, those of you who don't know what the DC is, not Washington, DC, but our distribution center. So we are going to actually get to go down to the distribution center because our global head, Peter Kropp, is going to be there. He's actually in the States. So we are going to.
All these companies do it now.
There we go. So he's in the US and we're going to get to meet with him. So unfortunately, the time frame was like 8 o'clock was dinner or something. So it's not going to work too well for us to hold a session in the middle of dinner. So I was thinking about pre-recording our session, and then we decided this was really important for you guys to have a chance to ask questions. So we decided to move it up a week. So there will be a pre-recorded session next week for you guys with Tandy and Kelly, and there will be time to ask questions. They'll just get back with you on those. So Erica, are you on? I don't know if I didn't see her come in yet.
On.
Okay, yay. Hi, Erica. So
Hi.
Erica and I are actually the presenters for tonight, and it's going to be all about finding your dream team, overcoming objections, kind of like one of those big foundational pieces to bringing your business to the next level, right? We all have to start with recruiting, but let's be truthful. A team starts with one. You have to get that first person to start a team. And that's all it does take, is just one. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you're going to build that, how you're going to get through the interviews with people, and overcoming all the objections. And then guess what? Erica is going to take you through all the emotional states that go along with that, because I'm going to tell you a lot of stuff and you're going to be like, okay, great. And then we're going to talk about how that makes you feel and how to work through those, because that's really an important step as well. Your well-being is very important as well. So, okay, so let's go. Sorry. And I am sorry. Let's see if my slides move. Oh, they do. Okay. Yay. Okay. So let's talk about the first step. Preparing yourself mentally. And what does that mean? So when you're going to recruit someone, you really have to believe in the opportunity that you're offering them. You have to know that you're doing something for them, not to them. You know, you have to remember that. I'm going to put everybody on mute here. So you have to really be excited about what you're telling them. If you're inauthentic, people will see right through you. If you don't really believe in what you're telling them, that, oh my gosh, this is an amazing opportunity, they're going to know. So for you, find your reasons that you find this amazing. Find your reasons that you're tied to the body shop. Find your reasons for being excited for being here. And that will show through when you're going out to recruit. Second part, never prejudge. So what do I mean by that one? Sometimes you may look at someone and go, oh, she don't need the body shop. She makes a lot of money. Or, oh, they're married to someone who has a lot of money. Or they're so busy, they could never do the body shop. What other excuses do we make? You know, guys, we make a million excuses not to ask someone, or we look at them and think, oh, well, they're so quiet. They're quiet. They would never want to do this. They're too quiet. They wouldn't, or, oh, she's, you know, too crazy for this. Everybody can do the body shop. So what I used to truthfully do, because I did a lot of in-person parties, I would, and I know this sounds silly, I would look in my rear view mirror when I was going, and when I'd get in there and I'd say, never prejudge, never prejudge, never prejudge. Because you never know why this opportunity is good for someone. Maybe they have money, but they need the recognition. Maybe they need out of the house. Maybe they're not happy with their home life and they need a little bit of an escape. You just never know. And for all those quiet people, they're like, oh, she's so quiet. You would be shocked how many people come in here and find their quiet confidence and flourish. It is amazing. So we have to keep that in mind at all times, never to look at someone and say, ah, this isn't for them, because it can be for everybody. So, and then this last part of mental preparation, don't take no personally. I know it's hard and we're going to work through that later. We all do. We all hear that no. We hate the no. We fear the no. I am one that I don't even ask my family for any help on anything. I'd rather drag 100-pound weight up a step by myself, because if I ask someone and they tell me no, I'm like, oh, you told me no. But the truth is, in this business, we're going to hear some no's. And you have to remember, I always use an analogy. So we go to the restaurant, right? And you go and you eat your dinner. And at the end, the waitress comes over and she says, oh, would you like to have dessert this evening? And you're like, oh, no, not this evening. I'm full. Oh my gosh. What do we always say a lot of times? Oh, I'm stuffed. Okay. Or they come over and you say, oh, no, not this evening. I'm watching my weight. Or no, not this evening. We'd had enough. Well, the waitress doesn't go into the kitchen and go, oh, they told me no dessert. She said no. It wasn't personal. It didn't have to do with anything about the waitress. She did a great job. She's still getting her tip. It just wasn't for me at that moment. However, that doesn't mean that the next time I don't want them to ask me, because I just may be in the mood for that dessert that they were offering me the time before. So it's always good to not take it personally and know that you really have to do a deep dive with this answer, because is it no for now or is it no forever? And almost no one's going to tell you no forever, because circumstances always change. All right. Mine doesn't go page by page. Sorry, I have to kind of write down. Okay. Finding people to sponsor, right? Because you're sitting there and you're like, okay, great advice. Where am I finding these people that are coming onto my team? So first, I always call it a dream team. And, why do I call it a dream team? Because it is people that you would be like, oh my gosh, I want them on my team. And I want you guys to sit there and think about this. Think about who you would want on your team, because there are a lot of people that you probably know that you think would be absolutely fantastic with this, but you haven't asked them yet, right? And it doesn't have to be people you're really close to. It could be people that like your hairdresser, or someone you're, one of the teachers at the school. It could be someone like that. But write down your dream team, have it in your mind, and know who you want to talk to. Know why you want them to be on your dream team. And then when you have that conversation, tell them, I wanted you on my dream team. Here's why I did, and here's why it's good for them. Okay? Out and about. I just did a little thing yesterday where I said business was everywhere, right? Business is everywhere. Look around. This opportunity can really work for everyone if you approach it in the right way. So when you are out, maybe it's the waitress. You don't really know the waitress, but she's done a really, really good job. Why wouldn't you want her on your team? Strike up those conversations. I don't know if Colleen's on the call tonight, but she struck up a conversation with someone at Target, and the person joined at Target. She didn't know her before, just happened to have a conversation, got ready, got that relationship going, and recruited someone at Target. How amazing is that? She could change this person's life. Then, of course, probably the warmest market, I always think, is those hosts and guests at a party. And I'm going to get a little bit more into that. Okay. There we go. Hey, guys, if you have any background noise, if you just kind of put yourselves on mute, because I only can see so many, just so that it takes it off the screen. Sorry, guys. So let's talk about sponsoring your hostess. So before your party, you should be talking to your hostess about becoming a consultant, right? Have that conversation with the hostess. She already loves the product. She's supporting you. She knows you're into the business, and you can give her a clear vision of what she can expect through her party. Usually what's happening with people when you ask them to join is they're afraid, are people going to support them? Will they be able to get parties? So if you're asking your hostess before the party, have you ever considered joining the body shop at home? Tell her why she'd be a good consultant. Tell her, you've done a great job of getting people at your party. You seem really enthusiastic about the products, whatever it is. Again, be authentic. But then when the party's going on, you tell her, say, well, would you mind if she says, oh, I'm not quite sure, Michele. I maybe, I've never really thought about it. And say, would you mind if I ask your guests if they would be willing to support you in this business if you started? So throughout the party, when it's going on, you might want to say, hey guys, Melissa's thinking of joining. Wouldn't she make a great consultant? And of course, when you say that, everyone's like, oh my gosh, yes, Melissa. These are her friends, right? They're going to say, Melissa's great. Oh, Melissa, this would be so good for you, because you would not believe how supportive guests will be at the party, and encouraging, because if they are a shy person, they know she needs a little bit more encouragement. If she's outgoing, they may be like, oh my gosh, yes, she's so funny. It'll be awesome. Parties will be so much fun. So you find out, say something like that. Then you'd say, well, would you guys be willing to support her if she got started? And then, usually people will be like, well, I do a party. And I'd say, well, if Melissa gets started, she'll be the one doing the parties from this one. And that is absolutely probably my number one place to recruit, is that hostess, because you've just started her an instant business. You got her rolling with her guests and her friends, and she's already has parties booked because you're going to help her. So I'm going to ask, does anyone up to that point have any questions so far? Anything in the chat, Erica, yet?
No questions in the chat right now.
Okay, good. Yay. See how thorough that is? So let's talk about those guests at the party, because this is the second best place to find your new recruits. And it doesn't matter if this is an in-person party. This can also be a Zoom party or one of the other parties that you can see some interaction. And what we call them is green light questions, right? That someone's giving you the green light. So first part is be prepared. Be prepared, because people are going to ask you for information. You're going to find those people that are interested. I usually have 3 packets of information. If I have a party with 6 to 10 guests, I'm giving out 3 packets of information. I was waiting to see if anybody had a chat saying, what do you put in the packets? Make it light. Seriously, just do a catalog and a little bit from the opportunity brochure, the stuff that's highlighted, that maybe just a printout or 2 that you like from that, and put it in an envelope. If you're doing this digitally, it's even easier. You just give them the opportunity brochure and the digital catalog, right? You can see I have scrolls of information. Any of you who have been on any of Christine's trainings might have heard her top leader, Rhiannon, talk about scrolls of information, which is basically little packets of information that you roll up. She ties a little ribbon around it. She actually puts them in a basket, makes mention, and lets that be a little bit more passive way for people to take information than active. Handing someone a packet that I identify is a little more active. The scrolls are a little more passive. And the last one is the PMS bag. And I love the PMS bag, because guess what? Everybody want to know what a PMS bag is, right? You're sitting there going, okay, because the name's catching you. That's why I always say in my parties, and I have these great PMS bags for you. So what you want to put in there is popcorn, more information, and a soda, right? It's just a little fun little bag with some tissue paper, a microwave popcorn, a catalog, a little bit of information about joining, like the opportunities part, and then a soda. And what you're going to literally tell them when they take it is, listen, I just want you to go pop this popcorn, drink your soda, take a look through this, get excited about that, and we're going to follow up. So fortune is always in the follow-up. You want to follow up within 24 hours of giving anyone your information. So you need to have that conversation with them. Is it better to contact you in the day or in the evening, right? So that way you're getting a time, and then set what they say day. Great. How does 12 o'clock feel to you? Or great, how does 7 p.m. feel to you? And this can be done through PMs, text, phone call, or guess what, guys? I would recommend even maybe some Zoom. so that you can talk to them face to face. Face to face is a much better connection with people. So even if you are doing those Facebook parties or other kind of parties, you can do a Zoom and build that connection for someone you want to recruit. So while you're at the party, how are we identifying these people that we're going to give this information to, right? You got to look for those green lights. The person that came early, usually they might have come early because maybe they didn't hear about the body shop at all before. So they've come to see what your products are. They come to check it out. That's usually pretty exciting to someone. Or they could absolutely know your products and want to get there before everybody else to check it out even longer. The person that's asking you the most questions. So I don't know if you guys, because I know we're pretty new here, but if you've ever been in direct sales parties before, you know, people will say, well, do you do this full time? Do you have a day job? Oh, do you have kids? Oh, how much money do you make? Listen, it's really nice if you feel flattered and think they're asking about you, but they're not. I'm here to tell you, they're not asking about you. They are thinking of putting themselves in that position. They might have a day job. Can they do this on a part-time basis? Or, I really wonder what kind of money she's making at this. Is it worth it for me to join? So really listen to those questions and try to lean in and ask questions back to that person. Because, you know, someone that says, oh, do you have children? And I would say, oh, I do. They're adults now. Do you have small children? That way I know how to answer her a little better for the next question she's going to ask me, because then I'll understand who she is. Because for me to say, oh, no, my kids are grown, I can go out and do whatever I want, I could come and go, well, then that doesn't really apply. So you want to make sure that you're connecting. The person with the longest list of her order form. Well, guess what? She's already loving the product. She should become a consultant. We all know that we have like very low minimums is what I would call it to stay active. It's a very low risk investment. So if they have a lot of order there, it's probably worthwhile conversation to have with them. Head nodders. I'm a head nodder. You guys know, you see my facial expressions. And when I'm at parties, I'm always like, yeah. And I go along with what they're saying and get excited along with them. So I definitely, all those head nodders, lean into them because they're excited. But I want to switch this one and say the next one I want to talk about is the person who's staring at you. The person that's kind of looking, just you're going along and they're just looking you up and down, and you almost make you a little nervous, a little anxious. So, and I'm going to tell you a personal story. I had someone at a party, and that's exactly because I'm all over the place and I'm very talkative. And I thought, oh, this girl, she's really hating me because she's looking me up and down. She has not cracked a smile. And I'll crack jokes in my parties and be silly. And nope, none of that was happening. And she was just right there. At the end of the party, she walked up to me and said, I think I'm going to do this. And I was like, whoa, I thought she didn't like me. The truth is she's just a different personality type. And she was an analytic. She was taking it all in. She was weighing it out in her own mind with what I was doing to what if she could be doing it. That's why when we do our parties too, let me just tell you, you want them to be replicatable so people can see that it's easy, because that's exactly what she was doing. Putting herself in my position and thinking, could I do what she's doing up there? I put the person that's wanting to touch all the stuff. That person's like, can I try a sample of that? Well, can I try a sample of that? Well, can I smell what that smells like? They are excited about your product. It's probably someone you want to lean into and talk to them a little bit more about the business. The person who stays the longest, because it's obvious. They want more time with you. They want more time with your products. And the last one, the person who asks if they can help you put your stuff away. And I will tell you, I was at a conference and Belinda Ellsworth was on stage and she was explaining me to a T at that point. She was like, oh, I know who you are. Someone comes up and says, can I help you put that away? And you say, oh, no, it's really easy. It's really simple. Don't worry about that. I have a method. I stick it away a certain way. Oh, no. And she said, stop doing that. They want more time with you. They want more time with your products. It was an aha moment for me. So at that point, I realized if they're there and they want more time with me, it gives me time to build more of a relationship with them, listen to what they're looking for. And guess what? The worst thing that can happen is I'm fixing the stuff later on when I get home. It doesn't matter. It didn't have to go in perfectly. It was more important for me to stop and build that relationship. Okay, so you've got these packs out. You're doing pretty good. You're all exciting. But now you got to do the recruiting interview, which can be a little daunting. I understand. It really does. So you can do the recruiting interview in many, many different ways. So things have definitely changed. You can do this through text. You can do this through Facebook chat. You can do this face-to-face. You can do it over the phone, or my new favorite is Zoom. You can do it through Zoom because I think you can really build a relationship and everyone knows how to do Zoom. And I guess you could also do FaceTime. So there's like a bunch of different ways that you can do these recruiting interviews. First question, make sure you write it down because this one is really important. You want to know, do they need to know how to get started or why to get started? I'm a talker. You all know me. Many, many times I would go in and I would just oversell this thing. All they wanted from me was, how do I get on board? And I was giving them a million reasons of why they should. Learn to slow down, learn to ask them, do you need to know how to get started? Because if they say, no, just tell me how. If you're on Zoom, you can sign them up right there between you and them on Zoom. You can go right in, have them giving you the information, showing them what you're authorizing, and sign them up. Absolutely. Same with face-to-face, right? You don't even have to go back. You don't have to share your link. You can make it really, really easy. Now, if their question is why, well, then that's when you actually kind of do more of an interviewing process. So you can see, ask questions about them. So I would really start with telling them a very short little bit about myself, just so they can kind of feel comfortable and know who I am. But then you want to ask them about them. Where are they coming from with this? You know, do they have children? You want to just hear a little bit about who they are, you know? I also usually like to find out sorry, I was looking at my questions here. Oh, I also like to find out what would be their ideal job. So if you're going to write down questions because you want to figure out what questions to ask in one of these interviews, ask them what would be their ideal job and then why. If you can hear that, you probably can figure out some of the things with the body shop that fill that in that you can talk to her about. I also like to find out if they were ever with a direct sales company or if they are currently with a direct sales company, why they liked it or why they don't. That also will help you really narrow down the things with the body shop that can help fit into their life. And then, of course, you want to tell them all those things that matter to them with the body shop. So you've asked them questions, you've listened. Reason we have one mouth, two ears. I have to remind myself all the time about that because my mouth goes faster than my ears listen, I think. But we all need to slow down, listen, talk. And then the finish is we have to ask them to join. You never want to leave one of these things without actually asking for the close, asking them to join. If you just leave it open-ended, you never know what's going to happen. And some people need you to ask them to join. I did forget one thing. Before you sit down with any of these interviews, this is a little side note. You should probably mark this one down too. You want to make sure that all the decision makers are in the room or involved. Nothing is worse than you have a recruiting interview, whether it be live or on the phone or in person, and they say to you, I have to go discuss that with my ... Okay? They are never going to explain the answers to ... So for me, if I would listen to something and I would go home for the first time hearing about it and try to explain to my husband why it's so great, probably not going to do a really good job. But I have learned if the significant other, that's the decision maker, is also in the room, any questions they have, you can help them. And if this is something that is really uncomfortable for you at first, this is where we lean into our uplines. Yes, we can do three-way calls. Zoom is really easy to have more people involved. Same with texting, three-way chats on Facebook, many, many ways. So again, we want you all to be successful. We all have to learn the processes and hear how this works. So work closely with your mentors. Work closely with the people who have done this more than one time or two. Okay. Okay, next part of this is what we all hate. Yeah.
So Raven is asking if we're going to do a worksheet like they did for the last presentation.
What does she mean by a worksheet? We have homework.
They did like this guide, I guess, that they posted into the event. And I think that I think the answer is that you and I will talk about what we can leave as far as notes is concerned.
Yeah, no, I don't have a worksheet, Raven. Sorry, girl. I do not. You're welcome to the slides. I can probably put some of this up, and if there's some hot points, we can work through that. So, because really with all of this, you got to remember, you got to make it personal. So these are guides to suggestions for you. So the big thing is, of course, overcoming objections. And I put the picture of the mountain in the back because what? That's the big objection, that big tall mountain that we look at it. Sometimes we go, well, I can't get past that, right? And we literally stop. But we all know there are ways to get over a mountain. There are ways to get through a mountain, and there are ways to get around the mountain. There are ways you can do this. So it's just having the tools, whether they're tools to dig through the mountain or, I don't know, something to climb the mountain, whatever they are, or a nice car to go around the mountain. That's probably how I do it. But so you just need the tools, and that's what we're hoping to help you guys here with. So I like using one of the ones you'll see, Feel, Felt, Found. And I'm going to show you on the next slide. Actually, there's two methods I use. One is Feel, Felt, Found. And I'll show you both ways that they're kind of almost the same thing. And the other one I like to incorporate a lot is, if I could show you how, would you consider? Okay, so we get tons of objections all the time. And sometimes it's really, money is really not the real objection, but they throw that out because that's an easy one, right? I mean, come on, guys. Is there anybody that wants to, you can write in the chat, yes. How many of you have actually heard it's the money, right? It's the money. Anybody? I'm not seeing any chatting. Guys, maybe I just can't see the chat. Can you see the chat? Maybe it's because I'm on presenter mode. Erica, is it money? What's the biggest objection you guys are hearing? Money, time.
Yep, money, time, time.
That's why I wrote those two down. I mean, there are other ones, but if you learn how to speak to a couple, you can work your way through all of them. So, okay, money. So when we're using Feel, Felt, Found, I understand money is a concern. You know how they're feeling. You're acknowledging it, right? When I first started sales, I felt exactly the same way. You might even want to tell them a little story. You know, my kids were younger, or, and, you know, money was really tight because we weren't making what we were at the time. Or you can use somebody else's example. That's fine too. If you know someone that's in that situation, bring it up again. You don't make something up. You want to be authentic and real, but bring in the situation. And then you want to give them the solution. So, you know, what I found is, or if I can show you how to make your money back in the next 2 weeks, would you consider? Right? So the other one also you can see with the example of time and you can flip flop these. You can flip flop them any way you want to. Hi, Melissa. I hear what you're saying. You're concerned about having enough time. I get it that I get it. I have a ton of consultants that are busy moms. They have kids. They work 2 jobs. But what I've found is my busiest consultants are my best consultants. They really know how to manage their time. If I can show you how you can make body shop work in your schedule, would that interest you? Okay, so you listen to what she said. You gave her a good example that other people are going through the exact same thing. And then you want to show her a way. Now you're just saying, would you consider? And if she says yes, you're going to show her, say, okay, well, let's get out your calendar. Let's look at what your calendar looks like. And I am sure all of us could look at someone's calendar and work a few party hours in there and show her how the money she can make with those couple of hours. And you really do need to know. I would want to show her a realistic couple of hour blocks with the parties. And I would use a $500 party example and tell her what an average consultant would make on a $500 party. Does that make sense to everybody? Does anybody have any questions on this one?
So someone also popped in the pushback, I'm not a salesperson. I actually love that one. I love it because that is what I would have said when somebody asked me to do this.
And you know what? Both of these methods work really, really, you can work them in. Okay. So, oh my gosh, I understand how I understand. So I hear what you're saying. You don't feel that you're a salesperson. Oh, Melissa, I'm a little offended. You feel like I'm a salesperson? I feel like I'm just a relationship person. No, seriously, I hear your concern. Everybody kind of worries about that when they're starting a direct sales company, right? But what I have found is that when you start this business, people are going to want to support you. And our products are something that everybody loves. So you're really not needing to sell them. You're just showing and allowing them to experience that and really making people happy, if you ask me. Just a natural conversation. So the other one would be like, if I could show you how to bring this to your friends without feeling like it's in a really salesy way and how they can really just have fun with this, would then you consider joining the body shop? Those kind of feel what the person's emotional state is and lean into them with a realistic answer. The thing people are really looking from you is an authentic answer. You've listened to them, you've acknowledged it, you've thought about it, and you give them a path through that objection. Anybody else have nothing? No one? Okay. So that's easy. I made that sound so easy, right? It's easy. You guys can all go out now and just recruit everybody you know. But no, that's not true. We know that. We know that that's one component is having the information. And then it's what? The emotional side. And I know Erica's really passionate about this because she had like some aha with some training she's done. So she's going to take you through the emotional roller coaster that is recruiting.
So Michele just gave you all of these tools to find out how the person that you're talking about is feeling about the conversation that you're having. So why don't you let me know in the chat if someone says, yeah, I think I'm really interested. How do you feel? I know that when someone says, yeah, I think I want to do this, I am like flabbergasted. Like, really? I just got you to want to do this. I'm so excited, right? Excited. That's right. Like, love it. So excited. So happy. Like, I did it. And hopefully I did it without too much work, because when you put a ton of work into getting someone to sign up, they are maybe not as motivated as you think they are. So you're hopefully getting this person to kind of get on board with you because they're as excited and passionate about the products or about the opportunity as you are. And that is like someone like you're going after for your dream team, like Michele said, like they are awesome. They're going to be amazing. And it really isn't a whole lot of work to get them to sign up. So on the flip side, you have now had an interview. You've gone through this whole process and you're like at the end like this, like I can't wait. What do you say? Do you want to join the body shop? And they say, you can go to the next slide, Michele. She's the tech person tonight. There we go. So you get through all of these steps and the person says, no, thanks. I just don't want to do it. Now, I know that when I go through all of that and I'm at the end of this and I'm just like hoping and praying that they say yes and then they say no, I am sad, like frustrated and sad. And you know what? that's okay. We can go to the next one, Michele. Handling rejection is hard. And I think it's actually kind of a learned skill. And it's something we kind of start learning when we're really young. And some people handle it really well, and some people have a really hard time. And all of those things are okay. If someone says no to you after you've done the work of really trying to help them understand why this is such an amazing opportunity for them and why they would be awesome at it, and they say no, take a breath, take your time. It is okay and very valid for you to feel frustrated and disappointed. And I promise you that all of us, after like identifying that person that we really think would be amazing on our team says no, we all feel somewhat frustrated and disappointed. Now, we all deal with it in different ways. Some of us sit on our couch and we eat a whole pint of Ben and Jerry's, and some of us go into a room and we binge watch something on Netflix, and we just have to close out the world for a little bit and kind of clear our heads. Take the time. It's okay. Give yourself grace. It's fine. But it's not the end of the world. And it's not the end of the world for your body shop experience, because you are passionate about your business and you want to succeed, right? That's why you're all here. Everyone wants to become a leader in this company. And we all know it's hard work. It's fun and we love it. And we love the product, and we're doing all of these amazing things and trainings to get to where we want to be, whether it's on a trip or it's to have a big team or it's to get as high up into the leadership rankings as you could possibly be. But it's hard and it takes a lot of ups and downs, I would say. So you get through that period of time when you're like, oh my gosh, I can't, I have to close my eyes. I have to shut this out for a few minutes. Get through that. I like for myself to put a time limit on that. Wallowing is a bad thing for me. So I say I'm taking the next 30 minutes. I'm going to shop online, which my husband hates that that's the way I cope with rejection, but whatever, that's how I handle it. I buy myself a pair of shoes and I say, all right, now I'm going to review and I'm going to regroup. And so I basically think about what just happened. What was the experience I just had so I can learn from it? And I really go first to the what kind of no did I get? Because like Michele said, just because somebody tells you no right now doesn't mean that it's no forever. And sometimes when someone takes me through that whole song and dance that I do for the interview, and then they say no at the end, I shut down right away. I don't want to hear anymore. I don't want to keep talking about it because they've said no, and I feel bad about it. And I'm like, okay, tell Johnny and Susie that I say hello, I'll talk to you later, and I shut it off. But honestly, that's my coping mechanism because, someone just told me no, but I think about it. I have to go back and I have to think about it. And I have to kind of review the process that I just went through. And that's how I learned. So was it a no for now or a no forever? And a lot of the times, like Michele said, it's a no for now because right now her son, let's say, has 5 sports happening. There's like lots of things that she has another job, whatever is going on, it's just not the right time. But it doesn't mean that when you see her at a party 4 months from now because she needs to buy all of her things all over again and she's giving you a $150 order, you can't say, remember that conversation that we had a while ago? You're about to place a $150 order with me, and wouldn't it be awesome if you were giving yourself back something from that order? And it wouldn't be awesome if like your 5 friends over there were actually supporting you in this process, because that's kind of what this is all about. And it doesn't have to be as big as maybe what you made it in your mind. There are going to be good times and places to revisit the conversations. You'll find them and they'll come back if it's the right person for this selling opportunity. And I think just scroll down just a little more, Michele, because I can't see what was under there. All right, and then the next part is, what did I learn from that conversation? So you did the interview. Did you really listen to everything that they were saying, like Michele said? were you just so excited that you spewed lots of information at them and then they were kind of overwhelmed? Because I can do that too. Now, I'm different than Michele. Like, we had a whole conversation the other day about being an extrovert versus being an introvert. And I am a big old introvert, which I know some people are always like, oh my gosh, but you post your stuff on social media and you do all this and you do all that. That does not mean I'm super comfortable having all of these conversations. I am really not the person that is going to walk up to somebody in Target and ask them if they want to, you know, join the body shop. That I'm not good like that. I'm good at kind of getting to know someone and then seeing how it might be, you know, but it means still that you have to be a great listener. And you have to think about the fact that just because you love this is not going to be the reason that they're going to do it. So it's amazing that we love this, and it's amazing that we want to share this, but be a good listener and really think about what you learned from the questions that you asked. Maybe you need to change the kinds of questions that you ask. Maybe you need to think about the fact that you asked the question and then you didn't even let them answer it. Think about it. Think about how it went. But do this after you've made yourself feel like you're in a great place to keep going. So that's really, I think, a big part of the process. I'm seeing like lots of fun things in the chat. Sharon, I'm glad you're a shopper too. It makes me feel better. And yes, Tandy, it's not about us. It's an opportunity for them. So this is my quote about fear, because I go back to this one all the time. I'm a big old scaredy cat. I'm intimidated. I have like lots of, but I love this company. And I love the fact that I get to share it. I don't consider myself a salesperson. I consider myself a big old sharer. I share the products. I love the products. And this is how I kind of present my business. So don't let the fear of what could happen make nothing happen, because it is paralyzing. Fear is paralyzing, right? It makes you worried and anxious and not want to do the thing. And especially after you've been told no a bunch of times, you start to really kind of get caught up in that word no. That word no is scary, but you have to keep going and you have to keep trying, because you love this and you can be so successful at this. And that person that maybe said no the first time, that you need to kind of reapproach the next time, could also be super successful at this. And that's my bit on rejection.
And unmute. That's awesome, because I mean, I think people do have to take that emotional journey. So I do want to speak to something that you said, which I think is super important. So a lot of times when we're training, we will tell people, go for no. You know what? 9 no's, and then, you know, the 10th one could be the yes, because it's usually 10-1 and it's okay. So you get a no and just keep going, keep going. I want to address it because I think in this climate, we all have had a lot of emotions this last year. It hasn't been easy on any of us. Anxiety, emotion, it's just been very different. Listen, if you're like Erica and you get a no and you need to process. Don't feel you have to go at it. I know we always say, if you fall off the horse, get back on. No, know yourself and process. Erica didn't say, I'll never do it again. I'm never going to talk to another person. I'm never going to ask. Nope. I'm going to step back. I'm going to think about, I'm going to take my time, or buy her shoes, whatever you got to do to make the, you know, it's not that you're not going to do it again. And you're going to hear lots of no's, but if you need that time, take the time. And I think that's something we've not trained on. In the past, it was always plow through, plow through, plow through. And I'm learning that some of our emotional health is tied to your emotional feelings of the business. And we don't want you to hate this. We want you to love it. So I think that's super important, what she said. Something else I wanted to tell you, because I just was thinking about when and I kind of didn't address it. So if you're doing your feel, felt, found with someone in an interview, and their original objection is money, and you give them a good answer and you're like, I did good. And then she's like, well, and I'm really busy. And you give her a really good answer and she says, well, and I just don't. And you give her a really good answer. You know what? At some point, they really don't know why they're saying no. They might be giving you just a million reasons and they're just going to take you in circles and you say, you know what? It's okay. It's okay, Melissa. You know what? It sounds like it's not a really good time for you to start with the body shop. And I want you to start and be really successful when you go. So you know what? We'll revisit this in a little bit and let them off the hook. That's okay too. And I think sometimes we forget that it is okay to walk away and not continue to push forward. It is okay to have these situations because we are emotional beings. We have to love what we're doing. And we want it to be fun for us as well. So if it starts being no fun, stop, buy your shoes, go shopping, whatever you're doing, eat your feelings with your bucket of Ben and Jerry's. I don't care. Go take a run, walk it out, or as Tamara says, dance it out, whatever it takes just to get you in the right frame of mind, because you have to enjoy what you're doing. So do we have any questions? Anybody want to come off mute, ask any questions, put them in the chat? I can't see while I'm screen sharing. Any questions? Oh, I'm shocked. We thought we had to do this live because we thought people were going to be like, I get this objection and I have no idea what to say, or I don't know how to get through this. No? No one's got any funky ones that they've been dealing with that's just too much?
Somebody did say that they're dealing with these kinds of rejection feelings as far as booking parties is concerned.
Absolutely. It can be the same thing.
Right.
Same emotional journey. And again, can't take it personal. We kind of find out where they're sitting and say, oh, okay, so it's not a good time for you to have a party now. I'll call you again in the fall. Absolutely. I used to always do that with my good customers. Just rotate them in. Offer it. Not for you now. We'll revisit this later on because there is stuff that comes up in people's lives and that could be why.
All right. Somebody just asked, what can you do about someone ghosting you? That question.
Hi, Felicia.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, if somebody is really dodging you, then you probably just need to say, okay, this is not the right.
So I don't let people, because you do know, I mean, we all know the statistics that, you know, sometimes you have to ask people over and over again, but in one sitting, it's a text, a call, an email. If I've reached out 3 different ways and I've gotten nothing, they're going to the side. And then maybe the next time, if I get a little gumption and I feel like it, I'll throw them back in the rotation and do it again. But the immediate thing is a text, an email, and because obviously they are just not, or a text, or a Facebook message, you know, a phone call, and an email. But if they haven't responded to any of those, then they're just going into that. Next time I have a little bit of time, I'll throw those people in the pot. There's not much, unless you want to go knock at their door. Excuse me.
Let's see. So someone asked again about, you know, like when the person says like, I'm not as outgoing as you and I could never go live on Facebook, and, you know, how to. Okay.
So again, you want to just kind of acknowledge that you understand. And for myself being extroverted, I would say, listen, I don't want you to be like me. Not everybody, I probably wouldn't even like you if you were like me. It's fine to be who you are. And you can work this business in many different ways. But the processes of doing some of these things will just help you through it. That's what we do. So if I could show you how to make this really easy without giving you a lot of anxiety, would you consider? I mean, everyone wants to know that you're going to help them. They don't want you to sign them up and you ghost them. That's a big fear for people too. If you can make them feel comfortable that you will help, even if you're not a super whatever in this business, you can still be their buddy. The best thing for anyone that joins is someone else to be excited with. So if you can just say, you know what, we'll work through this together and we'll just get excited over what's happening together and we'll talk about it. And, you know, all the things that we're learning, we'll do it together. So if you're not that experienced, don't feel that you have nothing to offer, because your excitement and your partnership and your friendship can sometimes be more valuable than all the knowledge that people have.
Donna says, I have this customer who's been inviting all these people to my VIP group, posts, gives great reviews and comments, likes, and absolutely does not want to be a hostess or a consultant. So I'm guessing the question is like maybe how to get them to.
So my approach would really be like, oh my gosh, I so appreciate every bit of business. And I would probably even give her like a little freebie and say, I earned this for free. Kind of tell her like, oh, I wanted to pass this on to you because I earned this for free. And because you're referring so many people to me. And maybe just if she's totally like, oh, I can't do this, say, could I just ask you why? Like, what are your reservations? Find out what their fears are. Sometimes it just is that. So, sometimes people think we have a minimum. Sometimes people think, you're going to start telling them how much they have to sell each month. People are always worried about that, how much pressure you put on them. Even if they think they could do really good, people try to minimize what I'm just coming in real casual. I'm just gonna, and they could be a rock star in a few weeks. So just listen. Ask her what's the deal? She's obviously doing a good job. She loves the product. She's bringing people to you. Or you might even want to say, hey, just wanted to tell you how much I've made on all those people you've been sending to me. That could be your income. Super easy. Can I show you how that could be your money in your pocket?
So of course, Tandy put in something so awesome in here, and
of course she did.
I know. I remind my team that we need a mix of customers, casual consultants, and builders. Everyone is on their own journey. We need to find where everyone fits, and I completely agree with that. That this is not for everyone, and that if they really just love being a customer, great, take the sales. Take them.
So she brings up such a good point that I can actually speak to. So when we first joined, I had, because of course I had done this before years ago, I had some fantastic hostesses, great hostesses that said, oh my gosh, the body shop's coming back. And they said, oh, I want to join. And I was like, oh, yay, they're going to be a consultant. Not only were they were not my best customer, they were a worse consultant because they didn't do anything with it. So I didn't do them justice because one, they haven't had any product in their hand because they just didn't want to have to learn the system. It wasn't for them. So don't turn your best hostess into your worst consultant. Make sure you're doing people the right thing. Now, of course, when we first were signing up, it was all manic, but guess what? They're going back to being my best hostess. And I think they'll be much happier that way too. So it is really important to know that we do need customers and we do need hostesses, so it's not always about just recruiting someone. Absolutely. Thank you, Tandy, for reminding us that.
Sorry, my computer is like flipping out. Hang on. I'm going to find the next one. I think that this is probably going to get addressed in a later session, but it says, I have someone who signed up and was doing great, then fizzled out, and now doesn't reply to me at all. What do I do? Do I give up?
Okay. So we have had, our share of wonk right now, right? So what I would really tell you is as things improve, as processes improve, you might want to just revisit with them and tell them, you really did a great job. I know you have some customers that love this product. Let me tell you what new things we've got. We've got the new shampoos. We have the new releases. You can reach out. Absolutely. I mean, why would you stop if you think someone could be good? Now, I'm not saying you spend a ton of time, hound them, bug them, but every so often put them in that pile of follow-up. It doesn't hurt. And you never know what actually was happening in someone's life. I mean, people have illnesses and family issues, and sometimes just life gets in the way. And this business tends to be the first thing people are willing to give up because there's not a boss telling you you have to be there on Monday morning. So I wouldn't toss them out. I wouldn't be mad at them. Just put them in the, keep updating them with all the good stuff that's coming. So, because we got lots of good stuff. We got the new products, we got all the new releases, we're going to have the new systems, we're going to have, as that comes along, just keep informing them very casually.
Let's see. What about people worrying, comparing us to a Ponzi scheme? I'm guessing this is like MLM.
Yes.
Paranoia.
And, it is.
she also wrote, and then she gets a lot of, I don't wear makeup. That's actually one of my favorite ones too. I'm like, I wear makeup sometimes, maybe.
Well, how would you speak to the I wear makeup? And then I'll take the Ponzi scheme one.
So if the person says to me, well, I don't wear makeup, I'm like, well, makeup is the smallest percentage of my business. It personally is the smallest percentage of sales that I do in my business. I talk a lot about the fact that the body care and the skincare are really what drive my customers, what they love the most. And that, you know, when I do something with makeup, and I mean, you guys see me posting inspirations and things like that, because I personally love it, but I don't do it a lot of the time. And when you guys get a picture from me, it's because I did it and I'm so proud of myself. But I really focus on the other areas of the business. If someone says I don't wear makeup, I go right into the other parts that I think that they would actually love and get so much out of, and that they could easily talk about.
Absolutely. You just said exactly what I was going to say. We have different products, so you just find the product line that speaks to them. So maybe if they don't wear makeup, they want their skin to look really good, or maybe they just really care about how their hair is, we really do have a wide range of products. So I totally get that. And yes, people sometimes think when they say that we're just a makeup company, we're so much more. And that's what you want to tell them. Oh wait, what was the other question? What was part one?
The MLM paranoia.
Oh, yeah. So I've had to explain this not once, but twice to my engineering husband's friends on a call with the people in his office. And he would say, Shell, please tell these people how you're not a pyramid scheme. And it's kind of funny because people thought literally his wife's job was a pyramid scheme. And I had to explain to them, no, it's actually kind of more like a tree. Think of how a tree kind of spiders out webs and grows leaves and grows branches. And I said, and the great part about this is all the people that are working with me, sideline or under me, however it is, have every bit of the opportunity to be at my level, to reach the same level, to get the same commissionable levels. And for us, you could say, no, we are a leveled system. There is a point where, there is a cutoff or a company would go bankrupt. And our company has been around for 40 years. So they certainly know how to run a direct sales business. So that's kind of how I just really quickly explain it, because, a pyramid truly is that the person at the top is the only one. No one can go above them. Guess what? Erica sitting right there can get a higher title than me and still sit in my downline. So yay, and go for it. I want all of you to do that for sure.
I'm going for it.
I want you to do that. So yes, so it doesn't, just because I am here doesn't mean I will be the first diamond. I would love to, I have goals too, but the truth is all of you have that exact same opportunity. So that's how I really do.
So Raven has a good question. She says, how do you keep track of who you've talked to? Do you use Excel? Do you use a notebook? What have you found is the best way to recall people or go through that in the future?
I am very old school, and I just use an old school folder system with a bunch of jumbled notes on there that I handwrite about each person with the interview. I used to do like sheets that I had with my questions, and I would write the answers on and kind of put them in, but I kind of know my questions now. So I kind of just jot everything down while we're talking, while they're saying, if they join, well, then they're my consultant. But if they don't, and I'm going to follow up or whatever, I will write that down too. And it goes into a folder system so that I know in a couple of months, pull that batch out and look through and see if those are people I want to contact again. Now, I'm sure all you techie people are much smarter and probably have ways to create files that are digital and can save the trees, and absolutely do that. But that's really, you want to batch things and flag things, but it's really, remember, we were listening, writing, taking that information down and getting to know them. Every person, if you call, whether it is a customer or someone that you've talked to, and they feel like you know them, that's one more step into them having that connection with you and wanting to join or host. So if they feel like you have no idea who they are, that's why people, when you text and you say, hi, hun, and you go into this whole thing and they know you just copied and pasted, or it doesn't sound like it came in your voice, most people would know if they look through any of my text, if there's a misspelling in it, hey, it came from me. It's original. It's from me. So yeah, you want to make sure that, when you're doing it, whatever file, have really good information on who they are. So when you pull it back out, you can reference that when you have the conversation. Guys.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, is there any more questions?
Yeah, there's one more.
Okay.
How do you not sound pushy to get someone to join your team?
By making it all about them. That's all. If you're listening and you're really making it about them, then you're not pushing. And again, if they've given you some objections and you've given them good answers and they're still giving, then that's the push point. Then you're like, okay, it sounds like this may not be for you right now. And they will appreciate that. Then and maybe they just wanted to see how pushy you would be with it. And if you back off, maybe in a day or two, they may call you. It has happened. But yeah, so you just want to make sure if they feel that you are listening to them, you are taking them for what they're saying so that they can see themselves in this position, there's no push on it.
Do we have time for a couple more?
Sure.
Okay.
We're at 9, but we can go and then I'll just give the homework and talk about one more thing.
Okay. So there's a question in here about any tips on the first time doing an in-home event, because this person has is a self-admitted introvert. So she said she's kind of gotten over the hump of doing some parties, and she said yes, but now she's scared to do it.
Okay, so listen, in our NATO group, the organizational group, Christine, my upline, who's been doing this for 17 years, put in some party cards. Look over those, take them with you. Even if that's not the products you're using, have the stuff for the product so that you know the products that you're using. She has verbiage in there. If you're that nervous, hold the paper, read it. People will appreciate that, because then again, you look replicatable. Yeah, replicatable, duplicable. You look like someone in the audience could say, oh, look, I could do this. She has papers. They give you support with material that tells you how to do this. Grab those. Also speak to your upline if you have, maybe role play a little bit with that, just so you feel really comfortable. We're all going out for these parties for the first time. It's really anxiety inducing. Even for myself, I'm doing one Thursday and I thought, wow, this is like one of the first like close settings. I've been doing ones big settings. This is a close setting one. And I was like, oh, it's kind of crazy. But the whole part of it, if they go away having a good time, then they're going to book me again. And I'm going to get bookings from that party. If they had fun and it was a nice get together, you don't have to have all the knowledge in the world. You just have to have them have a good experience. If their experience is good, I could have dropped, my body butter on the floor 3 times and then make a joke of it. That's okay. We all make mistakes. Or you could say something and then backtrack. I've done that too. It's just about how you handle that and make fun. And remember, you're the expert. There's no one in the audience that's going to be like, no, that's not how you use Skin Boost. You're the expert. So however you tell them is really how they're going to use it. It's going to be kind of, that's the truth. So just relax. Don't overcomplicate it. Take minimal products with you that you're going to be using, and maybe some for scent purposes for them to smell. Example of something you want them to book for next time, and have a good time.
I mean, I actually was just telling Michelle this too, that I am just about to start doing some in-person events. And obviously I already told all of you guys that I'm an introvert. And I said, I'm a little nervous. How do I remember what everything is? And Michelle reminded me that I don't have to remember, just read the container. It says it on the container.
I always say that.
I needed that. I needed to hear that. Like, if you are not, I have like 100 things behind.
But that's what I was looking for my skin.
Just take it out. Oh, this one's a 24-hour moisturizing for dry skin with cold pressed strawberry seed oil. And I tell a little bit about our wonky fruit story or whatever. And
yep.
I was like, okay.
Vitamin C. I'm like, yeah, it has the vitamin C from Camu. You think oranges, right? Oh, Camu berries. That's all. Now you're an expert. Woohoo! You gave them a fact. One fact. Don't need a million. One fact. What it does. Lighten, brighten, and tighten. Yay. You're good. So just, we all got to have fun with it.
Okay. So what do we do about friends who just want to join for the kit? And then, obviously we lose their sales because they become a consultant themselves.
there is two schools of thought. One, people, you'll hear people say, well, I was a kidnapper and I became a fantastic consultant. But the one thing I would ask them is if they are willing to even put in their own orders. You know, the kidnapper, if you've had a conversation and they're like, well, I don't know how much I'm going to sell. And I said, well, are you at least going to do it for your own personal discount? Then you walk them through, show them how to place an order. So at least they can do that. Cause that's usually everybody's biggest hang up is they never learned how to place their own order. If you can show them at least that, you'll probably get some sales that way. But I used to tell people if they told me they were going to be a kidnapper, oh, well, then I'm not your girl. You probably want to go find someone else to join with. And I've learned over the years that some kidnappers have come in and done really big things. And some people just say that because they're afraid of the expectation from us of how much they're going to sell. So
yeah, I usually just say, well, if you're going to do that for yourself and you already know that your sister loves the product and you know that your best friend loves the product, you might as well just get them to start buying from you because you never know what will happen after that.
Absolutely. You got it.
Someone said, so the slide that you did about the interview and you gave a bunch of interview questions, someone said that the interview sheet might be helpful. So maybe
I do. I have that sheet because I actually have a training with the questions and I will pretty that up because usually it's just my presenter mode and I will get one of those in there. Give me a few days, but I will get that done. Absolutely. So we need some homework. Yeah. So your homework, first of all, write down your dream team. You know, if you don't write it down, you don't think about it, you don't see it, you don't believe it, you know, laws of attraction, folks, write down those people. And guess what? Write down why you want them, what's special about them, and what would be good for them. Why would this be a good fit for them? And then I'd like you to have those conversations. So I want you to kind of step out and then actually approach some of the people and say, oh my gosh, think about it. Wouldn't you be flattered? Someone says, you know, you're on my dream team list. And then you tell them why. And then you tell them why they should do this. It's very casual, very easy. And you may just get those dream teamers to come join you. We want you to write down your list of objections and write out how you're going to answer them. So you heard feel, felt, found. You heard if I could show you how, would you consider? Take those objections you've heard or you think of or you're worried about and write out your authentic answers. Okay, using the feel, felt, found or the, you know, if I could show you how, would you consider? And then the last part is role play an interview with your with the person that brought you into the group. So it could be your upline or it could be just your sponsor right now, but start role playing these interviews and they'll throw you some objections and you can see how you handle them. After you feel more comfortable doing I know role playing is silly. Every time I get in a room and they'd say, okay, we're going to role play. I go, and I'm so extroverted. You think I just wake up, but I don't. I almost think I overthink it. It's okay. It's just a friend, your mentor or your leader or whoever it is. And you're just learning together. And by you doing that, it's going to help them also internalize something that maybe someone might ask them, right? So we're all learning together. So don't feel bad about that, but definitely get together and do some role-playing sessions so that you can hold these interviews. So I'm going to stop screen sharing and I'll get those loaded. Okay, so the one thing I did want to tell you guys is, you know, for being on part of this pathway to leadership process, you guys are invited to our leadership retreat. If you are going to do that, we sent out everybody the, oh my gosh, what is that? It's like a Google Doc. I don't know, Tandy, oh, there you go. Tandy did it. Thank you, Tandy. Tandy has a beautiful form that she made that gives you the whole agenda of what we're going to do, what you're going to get, what we're trying to accomplish there, which obviously there's like some rest times. We're going to do some mock parties. We have corporate there. I'm going to have some swag. We're going to have dinner together, some little cocktails. It's going to be really, really fun. So The reason why we did this is because, unfortunately, the body shop kind of told us that there was going to be no in-person conferences this year, that corporately they said they weren't going to do anything for us to get together as a larger group. So I thought it was really important because of the connectiveness, because we need to be a community, and because, you know, leadership really comes about from this interconnected to the other leaders. You will find that being friends with other leaders will only elevate your business. Even if they're not your leaders, or if they're your sideline sisters, it really does. You rise up together. And it's kind of fun when you're just starting a business and you're at a position and you got to get together and start talking to each other. And through the years, you watch everybody grow to this massive business. Because guys, if we just do the things and keep doing them consistently, we have an opportunity that is going to be amazing. Massive growth, I just feel is coming for all of us that master these skills early on. I will tell you, I was in the 1.0 version and we were growing like crazy. The only reason we closed down is because we were bought out by L'Oreal and they took the whole company in a different direction. So luckily we came with the new company. The other part is, look to our upline in Australia, who's been doing this for 17 years, and how massively they've grown with such a small little country. I mean, Australia does not have that many people like the US, right? And then look at the UK. Oh my gosh, businesses over there are massive, massive. And when we were doing this back in the day, they weren't massive. So in the last 12 years, they have grown incredible millionaires. Now, I'm not saying everyone here, oh, you're going to be a millionaire and you're going to be a millionaire. I'd love to see it. It's all going to be depend on us. But yes, we have to share the vision with each other, share the possibilities, share our ideas, become connected, and become accountability partners. I love my sideline sisters, because then if they start doing something a little better than I am, I'm like, well, what did you do? And how do I do it just like you did? It's important. So if you guys can be there, be there. We're going to have a great time. Bridget is going to be there. You know, she's our director of sales in the US. She's going to do a lot of in-depth training with us throughout the day, but then there's going to be lots of fun time for us to have too. And if you're not there in person, we are going to do an evening celebration for this whole thing together. So all the people in the room, and then we'll have a Zoom portion as well. But if you can get to Warren, Ohio, and you might be going, Warren, Ohio? Why Warren, Ohio? Well, I live in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. It's kind of close to Warren, kind of like the Warren. But what was there was a really great resort that had room for all of us. So it's like a resort and spa. And if you look at it, has fantastic swimming pools, and we have cabanas and lots of nice meeting rooms at affordable prices. And I could drive to it with a big carload full of stuff. So that's why we kind of did it there. So, so yeah, it's not like Costa Rica or Cabo or any of that stuff, but it is something we could manage and do this year. So I hope you guys are a little bit excited about that and want to come with us. So like I said, next week we'll be in the DC. We will pop up the video for you guys to watch. There will be a great training from Tandy and Kelly, and homework. Oh, see, someone said they're only 30 minutes away. Well, guess what, Allison? Get there, be there, have fun with us. Definitely let us know. Fill out those forms, and please meet us there. We really do want you there. So guys, I hope, does anyone have any last questions for Erica or myself? And I have to thank Erica for taking in the emotional side of things. It's important. Especially when people think sometimes, oh, well, Michele, you've done this forever. And, you know, again, yak, 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 and I have all the answers. I didn't have all the answers at one time. It's a process of learning. I had to do the same thing, just like Erica. I don't buy shoes, though. My feet are really wide. I more ate my feelings. Ice cream, sugar. Okay, guys, I'm going to stop the recording.